Hi, how's it going? It is I, Crusader King, and today I wanted to make a little more of a serious video, just kind of talking about the mods and the Hoi4's newest DLC, which I think you might be seeing finally. The fact that I'm playing vanilla in the background. Maybe it's just maybe it's that, maybe it's pre-recorded footage. I don't really know. But today I just kind of wanted to talk about the effect that
Boy, get it right.
The effect that no step back. Okay, every time I say man the guns, it's no step back. I'm sorry ahead of time if I continuously say that, but please just bear with me. No step back. Well, from no step back, basically a couple things changed in the game. First of all, a new infrastructure, railroad, and road system has been implemented. So back then, basically it was one thing, infrastructure, which was shown to be railroads, which you could kind of, I guess, allude to being, oh, infrastructure just means railroads, roads, maybe steam or sea stuff, if like ports if need be, stuff that is mainly on the mainland that can transport troops around. That's what was strategic deployment. And for the most part, I would say that, yeah, for the most part, Hoi4 always kind of kept the infrastructure bit together, with roads and railroads being the main form of transportation in infrastructure. However, now with Man the Guns, infrastructure has completely fucking changed. As I think many of you have seen with the newest videos of ISAR Productions, and I think even Alex the Rambler or Tar like where highways or roads are now need fucking motorized vehicles to actually transport supplies to the front line, or railroads being able to connect with one another, so that way you can connect resources to normal roads and all that stuff. And all of that, whilst it makes the game 10 times more complicated, at least with infrastructure, it also does spell a lot of problems with future modding, with future mods, mainly with ones that focus before 1936. A couple of those mods that I've been playing, like Napoleonic World, Old Europe 1300, and a couple mods as well that go back in the past, like a New World or a New Beginning, I think it was. That mod, do not play that mod, alright? Your computer will die if you play a New Beginning, so I highly advise that you don't play it yet. But the new infrastructure system might spell disaster for those mods, because one, if railroads don't exist at that time, how the fuck are you gonna make trains? Or, even with infrastructure, if motorized divisions, or motorization back then were literally fucking horses with wagons, or merchants, how are you gonna make that a researchable thing? And how are you going to have everyone have it, so it's an even playing ground? How are you gonna have nations that are like literally one fucking province even try and fight when it's red? Okay. The problem that I see with this mod is that with the new DLC is that it changes the infrastructure thing so drastically that mods of older timelines are going to have to change it up. Maybe the roads are still roads, but the railroads this time are maybe literal fucking merchant ships or something. Maybe they're just merchants. I don't fucking know, because the game is not going to make that very clear. Another problem that I really had was with war. I think it was seen a lot, and I mentioned it in Old Road Blues, and it was very interesting. Someone made a comment on that video saying that I was basically the only one that brought that up with Old Road Blues, with Old Road Blues. That being that basically war is impossible. As if your nation has enough troops, war might be possible, but it immediately cuts itself on. It constantly switches between you're at war, you are not. You're at war, you are not. Not like two nations, but literally fucking troops fighting. So no troop loses organization, which is good. But also, no troop loses equipment, no troop succeeds. Every single time, you have to basically hope that it is already an automatic win for any troop to lose, and for you to gain ground. Another thing is that you literally have to encircle divisions or go around divisions in order to have that not be affected, which already, once again, spells disaster for that mod. And that mod is a literal futuristic mod where, nuclear war occurs. How are they going to do the railroads? Much more is base game Hoi4. Here's a little tangent real quick about base game Hoi4. I just don't find it fun, in my opinion. I like watching other people play base game Hoi4, but to me, vanilla, base game, whatever you want to call it, is just boring. So, do you think that the mod or DLC do you think that the DLC makes it more fun? Yes and no. The DLC makes the game a little more difficult to understand, especially with the new infrastructure thing. At least back then, one could assume that some things would be built. You can allude that infrastructure would be roads and train lines and all that stuff. Stuff to bring territory in. Stuff that was very easy to understand. But now with the new system, it might get rid of new players because new players don't understand how to do all that stuff. And I'm not going to call new players stupid, because I know that there are going to be people that will learn it eventually. But I just think that it will definitely turn off a couple players because of how different it is. I tried to figure out what the railroad system is. I didn't understand it too well, because you can connect it to resources, but you can also move it all about and make like different stuff. Apparently, the motorized division part makes sense, and having to build trains also makes sense. But the one issue is that if you want to play as a different nation, or a small nation for that matter, it's going to be a lot more difficult, because you have less civilian factories, you have less military factories, and you even have a lot less resources. Which means that building trains and building motorized divisions aren't going to really be possible when you have to focus on stuff like war. Another thing that really frustrated me with this DLC, at least for base game, is that Lithuania, Estonia, and Latvia all get a focus. Wow! Like 3 tiny nations that all had little to no participation in the war have a bigger focus tree than, I think, Germany and fucking Italy. And here's the thing, here's what really also kind of frustrates me with this. Italy has not had a focus tree change. I think in almost every DLC, there has not been an Italian focus tree change. The only way I saw in Italian a good Italy focus tree that I think could definitely make it into base game is, I believe it's like the La Nevera, something like that. I can't remember the exact name for the mod, but I shit you not, that is one of the greatest focus trees Italy could have. However, one of the main issues is that, considering that this was mainly a focus for Poland, Russia, USSR, the Baltic states, it doesn't focus on Italy. And one of my main problems is that Battle for the Bosphorus, literally, it gave Romania, Bulgaria, Turkey, Greece, who literally fucking died. The same with Yugoslavia. I don't know how Yugoslavia when Yugoslavia got a focus tree, but I'm assuming it's either with No Step Back or Waking the Tiger or sometime then. But somehow Yugoslavia, okay, they beat back the Italians. They have some more participation, but they're not really important. Then you have Greece, who capitulates. Even though they beat back the Italians, they don't really play any part, or a very big part, in war. And Turkey, who has zero participation until basically when everyone in the world joins the war against Germany. And that was, I don't know when they joined the war, like 1943, 1945. By that time, the war had already ended. Yeah, La Vittoria è Nostra. Victory is Ours is the Italian mod that I really thought was good. But the problem that I really had with that is that Italy still has a very shitty focus tree, whilst, the Baltic states, the really tiny countries, have a bigger focus tree than that. And one of the main things that I really was interested in was Poland's focus tree, surprisingly. I think they did good with Poland's focus tree, but now there's that little, just a tiny little issue, alright? When you buy the game, which is $40, I'm pretty sure, it already came with a DLC. At least when I bought it, it came with a DLC for Poland, in which Poland would get a focus. That DLC is practically useless now if No Step Back is going to give Poland an even bigger and better focus tree than it originally had. What the fuck am I gonna do with that DLC that basically that only gives Poland a focus tree, and maybe I think some tank designs or some shit? What am I going to do with that DLC when there's already another DLC which basically makes that DLC useless? I don't know if it was just me who got that DLC because I paid $40 for this shit. But it's pretty obvious that Poland already had a focus tree and now they went back to change it. Another thing that would definitely be changed is Road to 56 as an example. An extremely, and if not one of the biggest and most popular mods for Hoi4, which changes almost everyone's focus tree. That has to change now because the focus trees are actually what Road to 56 actually had. Road to 56 had 2 fascist routes. They had 3 non-aligned routes, which you can actually see in Poland. They're not the exact same for sure, but they are somewhat mirrored. And the fascist route in Poland, the communist and fascist route without No Step Back, is like a shitty 3 focuses. In the new one, it is massive. Not to mention that there are like 5 monarchistic paths Poland can take. Mind you, there are only 1 monarchistic path for Germany, 3 monarchistic paths for France, 1 monarchistic path for Russia, and like 1 monarchistic path for England. How the fuck does Poland have 5 paths to become a monarchy? They have Romanovs, they have fucking Lithuania, they have a fuck ton of them, and I don't know why the hell they have so many, because now you have 8 choices where you can have non-aligned for Poland. A nation that got defeated in such little time. And then you have Germany, which has like 3 paths it can choose. And Italy just fucking stays as fascist. They don't really even change. So yeah, I'm kind of pissed off at that because Poland has so many things, so many routes that it's pretty easy to understand what country Paradox wants you to choose, and it's pretty obvious it's Poland. And Poland is not even in the major world power section, not even a major in Hoi4. They're just that little. Here's the thing: you go to the main hub, you go to the main menu, and select the nation. Poland is that little teeny tiny country on like the bottom portion, with so much significance. How does Poland have such a tiny little role there? And it gets worse. Because a lot of mods, like I said, Road to 56 basically is going to have to overhaul itself a fuck ton, okay? Because Poland basically has the 3 non-aligned routes. The only thing that it's missing is an extra fascist route, but really, they already did the fascist, communist, and all that stuff. Why are they even going to add a little more to it? So the most that Road to 56 has is that extra fascist route. Maybe also, I think, an extra communist route. But then for almost all the other countries, Road to 56 does pretty well. You have Italy as an example. You have France. You have like almost every other like big world power has a different focus tree. And if anything, they're better than that of whatever the fuck Germany and France have. Because France, yeah, sure, you can bring back Napoleon and have and have a lot of war goals. But in Road to 56, you can bring back Napoleon, make an intercontinental system, and ally with a lot of people. It makes that path more descriptive, more longer, and better for the player. When you compare that to, base game, Road to 56 has a little more. And the thing is that going forward, a lot of these mods are going to have to accustom them, basically try and fit themselves with No Step Back. Whether that is having to add a some form of railroad system or having to add supply crates and all that stuff, it's going to be extremely difficult, and it's going to take a lot of time for a lot of developers. I know that Old World Blues is trying to quickly patch that. Even when I made my video, you could see their little announcements saying that they were trying to fix Old World Blues as much as possible so that it's compatible with No Step Back. And in that video, you could see how little was actually there before No Step Back. As an example, traits crashed their game. Military advisors just didn't exist. For the wars were impossible. Motorized divisions and supply crates didn't really occur because there was nothing to do that. It was extremely rough, and it was released rough, so that way they could have a Thanksgiving patch or a Thanksgiving announcement to give away. But when the game barely works, you could understand why the game just couldn't fucking work. In my opinion, No Step Back, as it is one of the better DLCs for Hoi4. I would say one of the best, going with Waking the Tiger. It is still going to just drastically change the modding community with mods that were for 1936, for World War II, maybe even for World War I. And it's also going to change a bunch of other alternate history mods, like Napoleonic World as an example, Old Europe 1300s as another one, Old World Blues, even mods that were supposed to help with some stuff, like I said, Are the Victory Is Ours, the Italian game, the fucking mod that gave Italy a good focus streak. Kaiserreich, as an example, is going to definitely change. Hearts of Minecraft, one of the things that I just cannot believe is going to change. And some of these people don't really have a workaround for this. Yeah, sure, Old Road Blues might have a workaround for it. They could change like some motorized division to be motorized. They could make trains, considering that trains do exist post-apocalypse. But what about other mods like Road to 56 as an example? It might not change the world, but they basically have to change the focuses, because now their focuses give a lot less for some nations and a lot more for others. So they have to fix that, and they also have to change some stuff so that way it doesn't mirror Hoi4 No Step Backs like focus trees. So overall, what I'm saying is, for the next couple of weeks, maybe even a couple of months, we're gonna see a lot of mods either having to drastically change themselves, or simply enough, some modders just fucking having to recreate their mods from basically scratch in some cases, because that's the best they can do, and it really does suck. I'm not a modder. I don't understand the first thing about coding, and for me, I think maybe what I am saying is, it might take a lot less than maybe a couple months, but yeah, the effects of No Step Back are going to change a lot of mods. Yeah, you can say some mods might not change the infrastructure aspect, and that'd be fine, that'd be good and all, but you're also skipping a massive part of the DLC itself. That infrastructure thing was a big overhaul that they created, and you're just gonna skip over it. I know that Old World Blues does that, considering that infrastructure is still a thing, and that obviously spells disaster, because even when you probably have 10 out of 10 infrastructure, you don't actually have supplies going to the front line. So there's also that. There's gonna be a lot of issues with this game, and with Hoi4's DLCs and modding for the foreseeable future, if only for a little while. But there's going to be a lot of mods that are going to have to overhaul themselves and change drastically in order to fit this new DLC. In all honesty, the modding community is going to have to fix a lot of mods, and for the foreseeable future, for just a couple weeks, I don't know if I'm going to play base game, because I don't necessarily enjoy it, but I'll find a way to. Anyway, that's my rant. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is going to be a fairly long video, fairly different video, but I hope you guys enjoyed regardless. Thank you guys for everything you have been doing with my channel. We've gone up to I think 136 as of talking about this today, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.